Once upon a time, there were two siblings, Hansel and Gretel, who were deeply attached to one another. After their mother passed away, their father worked tirelessly to take care of them while also struggling to make ends meet with his daily labor. Over time, the father realized that he could not continue this way and decided to marry again, hoping it would ease their lives. His new wife, however, came from a wealthy background and could not stand living in poverty. She disliked the two children and never showed them any affection. One day, she decided to get rid of them once and for all. One cold winter night, Hansel and Gretel overheard their stepmother convincing their father to take them deep into the forest and abandon them. Gretel began to cry, but her brother, who was clever, collected small, hard stones during the night after everyone had fallen asleep. The next morning, their stepmother woke them up and told them they were going on a fun trip to the forest. Pretending to know nothing, the children followed along. As they walked deeper into the woods, Hansel dropped the small stones along the way, creating a trail. When they reached the heart of the forest, their father lit a fire, and their stepmother prepared food she had brought. Then, leaving the children behind, the parents claimed they were going to gather more wood. Hansel and Gretel knew they wouldn't return. As night fell, the children grew frightened by the strange sounds in the dark forest, but Hansel's plan worked. They followed the trail of shining stones back to their home, guided by the light of the moon. By morning, they arrived home and found their father outside, filled with regret and sorrow. He hugged them tightly, weeping in remorse for what he had done. Their stepmother pretended to be happy at their return but secretly plotted to abandon them again. The next day, she locked their bedroom door while they slept to prevent Hansel from collecting more stones. The following morning, the stepmother convinced their father to take them into the forest once more. This time, Hansel could only drop pieces of bread along the way, hoping to use them as a trail back home. But when the children tried to follow the trail, they discovered that birds had eaten all the breadcrumbs, leaving them lost in the woods. For 3 days, Hansel and Gretel wandered the forest without food or water, weak and tired. Then, in the distance, they saw a house made entirely of candy and sweets. Forgetting their hunger and exhaustion, they ran towards it and began eating the delicious walls. Suddenly, an old woman appeared and asked who was eating her house. Hansel explained their plight, and the woman invited them inside. But the inside of the house was nothing like its sweet exterior. Despite their unease, the woman offered them a meal of delicious food and a warm place to sleep. However, the next morning, they awoke to find themselves in a nightmare. The old woman, a wicked witch, trapped Hansel in a cage and ordered Gretel to cook food to fatten him up so she could eat him. Hansel, being clever, refused to eat and secretly dug a hole each night to hide the food. After some time, the witch grew impatient and decided to eat him anyway. She ordered Gretel to check the oven to see if the fire was ready. Knowing the witch intended to push her into the oven, Gretel cleverly pretended she couldn't see inside because she was too short. Frustrated, the witch leaned over to check herself, and Gretel seized the chance, shoving the witch into the oven and locking the door behind her. Gretel freed Hansel from his cage, and together, they searched the witch's house. They found a room full of treasures and filled a sack with precious gems and gold.